the Trump administration is fighting on. Meanwhile, the GSA has said that they will release over $7 million to the Biden team to aid in the transition should Biden prevail. We're going to talk about that and much more, including Sidney Powell, the Trump team, what it all means. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance.
Those who forsake the law praise the wicked. Those who uphold the law resist them. Welcome to the Voice of Resistance.
Emily Murphy is the administrator of the General Services Administration. She is tasked with helping the Biden transition team, should he prevail, get ready to assume the presidency. And in part, that means releasing funds. And believe it or not, there are statutes in our laws that say how much money is to be released, what's it to be used for. It tells the Biden people or any incoming administration that they need to keep an account. They need receipts for what they're spending this $7.2 million on. Let's back up. There was a bunch of news about the fact that Emily Murphy was withholding these funds. She sent out a letter in the last 48 hours saying that this was her decision alone. Nobody from the White House, nobody from the administration, no one from President Trump's legal team had contacted her and told her to do or not to do anything. She said because the election is still undecided that she has been withholding the funds, but since Georgia had been certified that she was going to release the funds. President Trump, on the other hand, is saying that they are going to fight on. Now, it is about that fight that I want to talk with you today. For those of you who are regulars, you will remember a couple of weeks ago, I said people need to be going through dumpsters right now. They need court orders right now to stop the destruction of evidence. Evidence being found in the handwriting, in the signatures. And so what we've seen in the last 48 hours in the state of Georgia, number one, they called the election for Biden. Number two, they did a recount, and then they certified the election. Number three, they are counting again. But here's the problem. They are undoubtedly, in my opinion, undoubtedly counting false, illegal ballots. But the ballot is separated from the envelope. Now, for those of you who voted in a voting booth, you went, you showed your identification, you signed something, they verified the signature. You have to jump through all these hoops, right? You didn't mail in a ballot. Let me explain to you the difference. In the state of Georgia, back, I believe, in March, according to news reports that I've heard, the Secretary of State in Georgia arbitrarily changed the law. This was illegal. It was unconstitutional. Only the legislature in Georgia has the authority to change the law about voting. So he cut a deal under cover of night, without many of the legislators even knowing it, saying that they would not require signature verification on a ballot. Now, the ballot comes, the signature verification is on the outside of the envelope. The ballot is removed. The evidence of fraud would be where the signature is. That's separated from the ballot and then destroyed. So the evidence of fraud is gone. So they're recounting these stupid ballots, many of which were illegally cast. They're fraudulent ballots. But boy, we've got the numbers right. Oh yeah, we know that Biden won this thing by 12,000 votes. How many of those votes are illegal? We'll never know. I mean, maybe a handful. We won't know. Why? How many were there? One poll watcher said that they found a stack of 500 ballots that had no fold. No fold. They were just flat. Now, these ballots have to be folded in order to be put into an envelope. So what that means, if I'm a sixth grader, I think I could figure this out. Somebody brought in a stack of ballots with Biden's name circled, right? And then they ran it through the machine. But oh, look, it was never folded. It was never put in an envelope. So they even skipped the step of a fraudulent signature on that one. So for President Trump to prevail in Georgia, what has to happen? I'm going to take a break and I'll explain it to you, and then we'll move on to the other states. But I'm telling you right now, watch me pull my face off. I think that there's bad news coming. Don't go away. Welcome back, friend. For President Trump to prevail in Georgia, it's going to take something close to a miracle. You're going to have a court that says, maybe, every vote that was counted where there was not someone to verify the signatures as they were opened, that vote is set aside. The odds of that happening are almost nil. Another thing that could happen, there would have to be such compelling evidence, not affidavits, video footage, evidence that is verifiable with a timestamp that this is actually happening on the night of the election. Look, somebody's coming with all of these illegal ballots and we're watching it on film. And then for a judge to say, given this evidence, we are going to either set aside X number of votes because we believe that's how many were fraudulent. What random number is he going to pick? Because all of the signatures on the envelopes are gone. Or a judge or the Supreme Court would have to say we're going to have another election for Georgia, an up-down ballot, an up-down vote. If that were to happen, let's just focus on Georgia for a minute. We'll come to Sidney Powell in it. But if that were to happen, if any jurisdiction said Pennsylvania, illegitimate, revote the whole state. Wisconsin, illegitimate, revote the whole state. Michigan, illegitimate, revote the whole state. Because they're destroying the evidence of the crime. So a judge would have to say the evidence has been destroyed, but there is enough preponderance of evidence to suggest that this was not a legitimate outcome. Therefore, we are saying that you're all going to vote again. And if you decide you want to use paper ballots, it has to be okayed by the state legislature, and signature verification will be required. All right? Do you see where we're headed with this? Do you see? They've already certified Georgia for Biden. They've certified Michigan for Biden. So you'd have to have a court overturn the certification process and demand a new election in that state. What do you think the odds of that happening are? And if it did happen, which would be so awesome, what do you think would happen? What do you think? Just picture the evening news. Anchors from ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, Washington. Picture the news. Outrage occurs. Federal judiciary, appointees of President Trump, because think of how many hundreds of federal judges have been appointed by Trump. Federal judges appointed by Trump seek to invalidate Biden victory. Picture Biden, Kamala, Obama, Michelle Obama making statements about the outrage of these Trump-appointed federal judges trying to steal the election and overturn an election. What do you think would happen? Here, I'll show you some footage. That's right. Burning, looting, rioting, police being injured, people being shot and killed. That's what would happen. Now, it wouldn't happen from Trump supporters. We know this. If it came, it would come more than likely from Antifa, Black Lives Matter, these lunatics, these totalitarians on the left, these self-proclaimed socialists, God haters, baby killers, hedonists, sexually perverse, confused. They can't even decide what gender they want to be in the morning. God save us. That's who would be leading the violence. But violence would come. So, what do you think? Do you think that even in the face of compelling evidence, that a wing, a branch, an appellate court, the Supreme Court of the United States is going to overturn or suspend the election and the certification of any of these states that I've mentioned and call for a revote? Because the recount at this point is already proven to be futile. You're counting votes that are illegal. It's about the evidence. I said this from the beginning. Get people in dumpsters. Don't let those signatures be destroyed, because that's the evidentiary trail. And now the state of Georgia is saying, look, we'll count them again, but the signatures are already gone. There's no way to reconnect a signature with the ballot. That's what Georgia's saying. That's why President Trump, with this set of facts on the table, cannot prevail, either in Georgia or in any of these states where clear fraud took place. We just don't know the amount. And we're never going to know unless there's somebody out there with evidence, with a miracle. I'm going to take a break and we'll talk about this potential evidence when we return. Please don't go away. I admit it, friends. I am sick in my heart. I am. I want President Trump to prevail. There is still a chance, but it's slimmer and slimmer by the hour. Now, I've been talking to attorneys, and I have been doing research for the program. It's part of what I have to do. Plus, I'm an American citizen. I'm an activist. I work my heart out to try and stop Biden from winning. Spent literally months on the road. Okay? So I'm in. I'm invested in this on a great number of levels. As a dad, I'm invested. I want Trump to win. But it's not looking good. Now, Sidney Powell, you've heard this name. Release the Kraken, Sidney Powell. I'm going to expose all of them, Sidney Powell. I've been asking people, where's the evidence? She keeps saying she's got evidence. Where is it? So over the weekend, I think it was Saturday night, the Trump team released a press statement saying that Sidney Powell is not on our team. She is practicing law as an individual. Now, the press conference last week was with Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell, and they referred to her as being on the team. Now, Sidney Powell responded saying, yes, this is an accurate statement. I have never signed a retainer agreement. I have never billed them for any of my time in the time of my law office. So they are correct. I am not officially a part of the Trump team. So they said she is a lawyer practicing law on her own. It was a pretty good statement. It was confusing to people. So, the conspiracy people from the far left to the far right all started to try and say, what does this mean? What does it mean? Are they freeing her up because they want her to say things that they can't say and let her go off and say crazy things and make accusations? Are they saying, no, stop. You're saying that the Secretary of State or the governor of Georgia is on the take from a Venezuelan voting machine company? I don't know. All I know is she's no longer on the team. And she's going forward saying she has evidence. Where's the evidence? Where's the beef? Show me the money. Whatever cute phrase you want. She's got to deliver really fast if she's got it. Now, she said in another statement, I believe yesterday that she will have lawsuits filed by the end of the week. There's another attorney, Lynn Wood, who is out there saying that he has evidence, he has seen the evidence, and that they have film footage of people doing illegal things in the state of Georgia. So, we'll see. But I'm starting to be really concerned. I've been really concerned for over a week. I want to be a team player. I want Trump to win, but I have to call balls and strikes. I have to call it like I see it. And we're in trouble. And I'm going to take a break, and I want to talk to you about Nebuchadnezzar and Biden, or Biden and Nebuchadnezzar. Please don't go away. Alrighty. Camera rolling. In 3, 2. Welcome back, friend. When we were at Biden's house in early October protesting, we were praying, begging God, begging him, spare us of a Biden presidency, not for our sake, but for the sake of the innocent, for the sake of the babies who will die because of Biden's promise to repeal the Hyde Amendment and force American taxpayers to pay for the murder of their neighbor. It's possible that we will retain the Senate, and if the Senate retains anything even close to a backbone, and there is a budget proposed or a bill proposed that funds the murder of babies, that the United States Senate will say, no, it's not happening. And Mitch McConnell and others, Ted Cruz, will say, no, we're not going to do it. And that there'll be no bill for Biden to sign. It's possible that the U.S. House will have such a razor-thin majority for Nancy Pelosi and her cronies that they'll have some defections of the moderate Democrats who say, if I vote for this, I'm done. If I vote to use taxpayer money to kill babies, so it's possible that the great gift that President Trump gave us was all these federal judges and 3 justices on the Supreme Court. If President Trump does not prevail and Biden is elected, let's talk about Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar was an evil, pagan, idolatrous king. And he was a tyrant. Read the book of Daniel. See for yourself. But again and again, God said through his prophets that he was handing Israel over to Nebuchadnezzar because of their sins. He had appointed Nebuchadnezzar and the Babylonian army to destroy Jerusalem and to destroy the very temple of God. Solomon's temple, where the Shekinah glory of God had rested, was to be destroyed at the command of God himself. Why? Surely this came upon Israel because of the sins of Manasseh, because of the blood he shed, for he filled Jerusalem with innocent blood, and the Lord would not forgive. Quoting to you from 2 Kings chapter 24. The shedding of innocent blood, the blood of their sons and daughters. Psalm 106 makes it very clear. They offered their sons and daughters to demons. They shed innocent blood, the blood of their sons and daughters. God sent a pagan, evil, violent, cruel king in the person of Nebuchadnezzar to judge his people. The scripture says judgment begins at the house of God. If Biden assumes the presidency, we know from the plain texts of scripture and the principles of Scripture, that this evildoer, this man, Biden, and the evildoer, Kamala Harris, that they are the judgment of God. And they will unleash on us a level of totalitarianism, a level of socialism, which will involve theft. It will involve the removal of our freedoms of movement, our freedoms of speech, our freedoms of religion. It will involve taking more of our stuff, of our money. And it's a chastening from God. And if it is to be that way, we know that we deserve it because of the blood that is crying from the ground for justice. I'm out of time. Go ahead and do your own Bible study on Nebuchadnezzar and judgment. Happy Thanksgiving to you.